Oh boy, there we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Hope you're having a great day today. Oh my goodness, a little bit chilly out there, isn't it? My name is Nicholas Viselli. I am the artistic director of Theater Breaking Through Barriers, and yes, I am coming to you as live as I can from high atop the glorious Thunderdome in beautiful, little chilly, but still spring is coming, Midtown Manhattan. And I want to welcome all of you to our Theater Breaking Through Barriers fourth Virtual Playmakers Intensive, or VPI 4, Transformissions. So happy that you can be with us. And this has been, I have to say to you, and I think I might have said this last night, but we've been doing this is our fourth, right? And this keeps getting better and better as it goes. I love the fact that we're now developing sort of a great rhythm in terms of working with our artists and working in this style and really pushing the envelope a little bit. So I think it's just so great to be able to do this. We've had so many great shows so far. Tonight, guess what? Another great one, especially to celebrate the fact that we've arrived at midweek. It is St. Patrick's Day. It's not a St. Patrick's Day play, but it's a perfect play for tonight. So tonight's play is, again, a wonderfully original piece written by Rebecca Quinn Robertson. It is called Patrimonial. It was directed by the amazing Everett Quinton. And we have this stellar cast: Carey, Christopher Hurt, Patrick J. O'Hare, and Nick Walther. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to turn this program over to our voice, our guide through this production, our audio describer, the dazzling Anne-Marie Morelli.
Welcome again to VPI 4 Transformissions. I'm Anne-Marie. Tonight's going to be a little different than it has been because most of the description is going to be within the play itself. So that's how you're going to hear it. I do want to remind everyone that our theater, our stage, is your computer screen. So all of the action is going to be taking place on your screen. Right now, the stage is dark, so you're not seeing anything. But each character will appear on screen in their own separate Zoom box, so that's all you really need to know. Tonight's play, Patrimonial, is by Rebecca Quinn Robertson, directed by Everett Quinton, and features, in order of appearance, Christopher Hurt, actually not in order of appearance, features Christopher Hurt as Philip, a novelist, Nick Walther as Thomas, his protege and assistant, and an aspiring novelist, Carey Cox as Beatrice, his daughter, also a novelist, and Patrick O'Hare as Billy, his agent. So without further ado, let us begin Patrimonial. Place: Beacon, New York. Morning, 7:30. A beautiful lived-in house upstate, owned by Philip and family since the 80s. Books occupy every crook and every cranny. Beatrice, late 20s, sporting librarian-esque glasses, fervent orange-red hair, and an oversized plaid shirt, sits in a window seat in the kitchen, looking out the window, a swim in her thoughts. Thomas, also late 20s, wearing a large, well-loved cardigan with an open, scruffy face, despite looking crumpled from having just emerged from a dream, enters, jarred for a moment by her being there, and then pours himself some coffee from the carafe and sits at the breakfast table. He opens the already creased New York Times to the arts section. Her stillness only augments his nervousness at occupying a room alone with her. She's incredibly self-possessed and remains seemingly unaware that anyone else is in the room.
Wow, this is incandescent. That's great. I think this is the best review he's ever received. This should put him in a mood. Searingly luminous. Can you imagine?
In a nearby room, someone puts on a record. In a Sentimental Mood by Duke Ellington streams into the kitchen. Philip, 50s, dressed in linen, extremely elegant in an offhand fashion. A mad scientist burnished with a dapper gaze enters with his coffee cup.
Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead, fuck. For the soul, be.
For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem.
Damn, yes, of course.
Philip starts for the carafe for a refill. Thomas rushes to fill his cup. Beatrice continues staring out the window.
I guess you must have read this review, huh?
He never reads his reviews.
Well, you might want to give this one a whirl. It's pretty...
A good review is even more useless than a bad one, Thomas.
Well, still.
Did you sleep at all?
She walks towards the carafe. Thomas holds it toward her.
There's too much living to do to sleep, baby doll.
Are you taking that melatonin?
Phone rings.
B, I've been sleeping like this since I was your age.
You told Dr. Miranda that you would focus on that before your next appointment.
Phone rings again.
Which is in mere hours, by the way. Don't think I forgot.
Phone rings again.
Hello, Amos residence.
Why are you arguing with me about this?
I don't know. I'd really rather not, if it's all the same.
It's Billy.
Tell him to go fuck himself backwards.
He says he heard that, you prick. Do you want me to, tell him?
First of all, I don't want you to, do anything. And second of all, give me the phone. You're an atrocious liar, Thomas.
Okay.
Hello, you old so-and-so.
Beatrice touches Thomas's shoulder.
Don't worry, he's not upset with you.
Oh, I didn't think.
He loves a hard time.
Sure, yeah.
The winsome William will be joining us for dinner.
Glorious.
Hey, be nice, Beatrice.
I'm always nice.
Late afternoon. Philip and Beatrice enter, having just come from Dr. Miranda's office. Thomas shuffles to the foyer from the kitchen.
William! Winsome William! Is he here?
He's in your study.
Billy, 39, is very attractive and very well groomed. A creature used to keeping company strictly with those who dazzle. Runs around the corner, ducks down like a beast on the hunt.
Hello, you filthy bastard, you!
They run at each other, embrace, and Philip gracefully takes his hands and leads him into a bracing waltz across the hall. They crash land into the kitchen.
They're very low-key.
Oh, Winsome, thank heavens you're here.
How could I miss the celebration? Huh?
Billy pulls out a bottle of champagne.
Ooh, my.
I know, I'm so bourgeois. But there are only so many times a man can pull a rabbit out of his hat.
He goes to the cabinet, pulls out 4 flutes, and pours.
Dad!
Yeah?
Honestly, darling, I didn't expect you to surprise me this late in the dance.
Is that a compliment?
Oh, you know what I mean. This is something altogether... It's just a departure, my dear old friend.
You harlot.
I'm just excited. I'm excited, although it's as if I just read your first novel, except it's better because honestly, after all this time, it's even richer. And I'm thrilled to make the world sit up and take you seriously again.
Why would they need this to take him seriously?
Oh, Jesus, B, you know what I mean.
No, please elaborate.
Sometimes you just have to slap them in the face, Beatrice, and say, hey, you motherfuckers, you haven't seen every trick up my sleeve.
Amen.
Let's toast, darling.
Bill hands her the fourth glass. She sets it down.
I'm so sick of these conversations about the fresh, the young. It isn't even subtly patriarchal. You shouldn't have to come up with something splashy to be taken seriously. Your commitment to the form, the long history of your work should be enough.
But it's important to recognize a departure, risk-taking.
Philip Amos has always taken risks. And let me remind William here, Philip, you had a stroke 2 years ago. You're not supposed to even look at a drink, which your doctor just told you yet again.
She leaves the room. Billy
Bob?
looks at Philip.
It's Bubbles, for fuck's sakes.
Bottoms up, boys.
Duskish. Thomas enters the walled-in porch to find Beatrice curled up on the floor with her book, facing some field of wildflowers just outside the house. He sits in the nearest chair a moment, awaiting her notice.
Anything blowing your skirt up in there?
These poems are where to go if you need to remember what words are for.
What a review.
It always does the trick.
May I?
He extends a hand. She takes the book back.
And you, leaning into that warm haze from the window, Amsterdam, late afternoon glimmer, a blur of buds, breathing in the lindens, and you let go, and why not? Almost blue.
Who's
Dodie,
who's blue?
Chet Baker.
God.
Yeah.
Speaking of characters, why why does your father call me Tomas?
Have you told him you're not fond of it?
I guess not.
And why is that, do you think?
It seems petty.
Perhaps you're afraid to say no to the great man.
I mean, of course I'm not afraid.
He must hear no, you know. He'd die without it. We all would.
It's not like I won't say it.
That's what ruins great artists. No one will tell them when they're naked.
Naked?
The Emperor?
Okay, I mean, I am aware that he's just a man.
And my father is one of the good ones.
I think so. That's why I'm here.
She looks out onto the last of the sky's glimmers.
Even so, this is why I never wanted to publish.
Wait, really?
It follows you, even if you mean well. It seemed to me that there were only these options. Be a man and don't give a fuck about how you might affect anyone because your work takes up too much room to consider, which, according to every example I've encountered, renders you an unaccountable asshole. Or be a woman. And in my experience, to be successful, you're going to have to let one thing fall away. Just for the love of words.
You feel that way?
And I couldn't imagine making that choice. My work over my life. But on the other hand, I've just never been able to let go of words. So in a fashion, I haven't really been living.
So you don't want to write because of the person you might become? I just wonder, what kind of person will you be if you don't write? That strikes me as a pretty narrow set of possibilities.
It's not a binary.
Sure sounds like one.
She smiles, pulling out a cigarette out of her coat pocket.
Maybe I just attended one too many book parties too early on.
She offers him one. He declines.
Can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, it's just Bukowski.
You're so well read. I'd have to spend a straight year reading to catch up, and even then I might not.
Tom, What do you like to be called?
I like when you call me Tom.
All right. Well, Tom, we're never going to kiss each other.
Okay.
There's just something too creepy here in the dynamic. You're drawn to me as some kind of magical extension of my father's brain.
I don't think...
She picks up a cocktail he hadn't noticed from the floor. Has she been drinking?
And I, unfortunately, see you as one of his... What did I used to call them? Flower girls.
Wow, cool.
He starts to get up off the floor.
I'm not being insulting. You don't have to go.
You know, it's not really so cool to insult someone and then tell them they're not insulted.
Wait. Tom.
He grabs at his feet and comes to a stand awkwardly.
Okay, let's just do it. We'll get it out of the way.
He puts his arms out and presses her away, kindly.
Good night, Beatrice.
She sighs, looking back out at the sky. Hazy afternoon. Philip and Beatrice sit, books in laps, sipping tea in comfortable silence. They're in Philip's study. Everything you'd hope a cavern of creativity would entail. Books are everywhere, with perfectly distressed leathered chairs, old lamps, and little mid-century table wherein there sit several crystal decanters filled with amber-colored liquids, and a giant box filled with untouched cigarettes. Beatrice looks up. Philip is gazing at her.
I'm so proud of you, Beatrice. The work is so strong.
It should be. I've been writing it for the past decade.
Wonder if your mother's read the reviews.
Undoubtedly.
Have you thought about telling her?
I don't really care to know George's opinion, even if she had made any kind of contribution or influence in its creation.
B.
She won't meet his gaze.
Are you upset, darling?
Why on earth should I be upset, Dad?
He sets down his drink.
If this idea displeases you, why, pray tell, did you suggest it?
Dad.
Yes, baby doll?
I don't want to talk about this again. What's the point?
Well, what's done cannot be undone, sure. But it seems you're upset with me.
No.
B, come on now. We don't do this to each other.
Oh? Tell me, is it Thomas who's been draining your reserves of scotch? Once a week max, Dr. Miranda said. Why won't you listen?
I won't be coddled, Beatrice, and I won't be maintained by anyone.
Least of all by the one who you'll leave behind. I'm trying to take care of you.
Darling, I don't want you to take care of me. I'm your father.
Then why won't you act like you're trying to fucking stick around for a while?
Is this about me or the book?
I just prefer to know what's happening.
And you do. I am always honest with you.
I'm sorry. I guess I'm overwhelmed. I wasn't expecting to be affected by all the hoopla.
Darling, you must tell me. Have you changed your mind?
No.
She picks up a cigarette and twirls it around in her fingers, thinking about lighting it, and puts it back in the box.
Do you know how many times I tried to convince you to let me write your essays when you were in grade school? You were such a purist, you'd barely let me proofread.
I mean, I never would have been reviewed, let alone, well...
Why wouldn't you have?
Had it not been for this. So, at least I know that the words mean something to someone besides me.
He studies her. She reads her book. Hours later, Philip and Billy are alone in the study. Each has a neat whiskey in hand. Billy looks to be breathing to prevent a panic attack.
Are you fucking kidding me? Please tell me you're fucking with me.
You know I don't have that grand a sense of humor, Bill.
Do you have any idea what this would do to me? Penguin won't hesitate to cut me. You wouldn't do this.
Well, that's simply not accurate.
Do you have any idea
But
What
I'm
the
I'm
fuck?
sorry, Bill.
I don't want to hear sorry.
I didn't want to keep it from you any longer.
Philip, I'm your oldest friend, 25 years.
Philip looked off at a dark, aging painting of Georgia and a very young Beatrice.
I think she was trying to help me just keep something.
What the fuck does that mean?
Thomas enters the room quietly, holding a stack of papers. He freezes.
Do you know what it's like? I can't do what I used to do.
Yes, you can. You just have to have your confidence back.
Philip shakes his head. Thomas sits abruptly in one of the chairs.
I never should have let her. She knew what I knew. I'm done.
I don't want to hear that nonsense, Philip.
Why can't I talk to you about this?
No, please. For hell and her minions, talk to me. Tell me something to help me understand how you could keep this from me. We're practically wed.
He sits, lighting a cigarette. Philip picks up the box and lights one for himself.
You're not supposed to fucking smoke, Philip.
Philip waves him off.
Look, I thought it'd be exposing her words to the atmosphere. There'd be no going back after that. They'd know about her.
Give me a fucking break.
Think about what it means to have a debut like this.
Except that's not at all what happened, because the world thinks you've written the best goddamn book of your career.
Isn't that something?
This is not good news.
Yes, it is. To get these kinds of reviews before 30?
No offense, Tommy, but I don't believe, how do I put this? No one asked you.
Please don't call me Tommy.
I'm sorry to keep you in the dark, Thomas. That wasn't fair.
Fair?
Thomas stands, wishing he'd never found himself in this room or this house.
Philip, I need you to help me decide what we're going to do about this, because we most definitely have to make a decision right now.
Really my decision.
I'm gonna just...
He leaves the room. Moments later, dusk gathering. Thomas enters the living room. Beatrice smokes, staring at a photograph of her family. She is 5, and her mother is radiant.
Have you seen this, Tom? It's from the last year Georgia lived here with us.
He gives it a look.
Beatrice?
It's so strange that she ever even lived here.
Yeah, that is strange.
She hasn't in 15 years. I just put that together.
Wow.
Just after her 3rd book took off, she moved to Taos. She writes her best there.
Oh, wow.
Tom, you're sweating.
Did you?
What? Is he okay? Did something happen?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
She puts her hand over her heart.
Okay then, buddy, use your words. You're freaking me out.
Did you write escape hatch? Oh, God. The whole thing is a metaphor for how we dispose of women.
What are you talking about?
And I thought it was remarkably feminist.
Tom.
It's just, your dad is in there telling Bill.
What are you talking about, Tom?
She leans back against the wall behind her.
You did, didn't you?
He walks in a circle around the living room. Gradually,
God, of course, well, there's something that's spookily in the same vein as your dad's stuff, sure, like it's sort of haunted, if you will, by his influence, but it's totally...
Tom!
No, wait, please don't take that the wrong way. What I'm trying to say is...
Tom!
It's infinitely better.
Please stop talking.
Moments later, evening. Beatrice and Thomas enter the study. Philip and Billy are really drinking now. Samba Triste by Stan Getz and Charlie Bird plays on the record player. Cigarette smoke hangs in the air over their heads.
Dad, what did you do?
Oh, the cat's out of the bag, baby. I guess I should say congratulations. It's a cause celeb.
Philip, what the fuck?
Uh-oh, I'm a proper noun. Darling, it is time to succumb to fate.
He lights another cigarette.
Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime. And
Departing, leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother seeing shall take heart again.
Philip picks up his glass and pours everyone a fresh drink.
Hear, hear.
Who is that?
That would be Longfellow, Tomas.
Woo-hoo!
Yeehaw! You know, kid, that's what you are.
Stop it.
It sure ain't my books.
Dad, we have to talk about this.
You're my footprints.
Beatrice sets her glass down.
Which I knew when I read your first damn story. I thought to myself, I may be able to string together a sentence or two, but this kid, what she has to say, that's what I was brought here for, to make sure she says it. I just, on closer look, I should have passed your stuff off to someone at the New Yorker, for fuck's sake. I shouldn't have let you do it this way.
Let me.
I tried once before. Remember when you were just out of undergrad?
Did?
And when you suggested this, I told myself I was helping get you out there, that eventually we'd tell everyone it was yours, and that the noise around it, it'd help establish you. I have no other way of helping you, baby doll.
I don't think she really needs it, Mr. Amos.
They all look at Thomas for a second.
But if I'm being utterly, radically honest, I did it so as not to disappear completely.
As if that's even possible.
I'm not going to write another book, darling.
Well, not with that fucking attitude. You're not going to write a book.
Bill, I've tried, and I can't. Trust me. I wish it weren't true.
Oh, God.
Thomas is near tears. Billy reaches out and awkwardly pats his back.
And I knew that if I really didn't have another book in me, I was already gone. So I convinced myself this is just the beginning for her. And maybe if I do this, it'll give me a chance to get my feet back on the ground again. Give me extra time. But
Daddy.
you and I both know all the time in the world can't alter truth. And I think we both need to look the truth in the eye. It's time for you to be that self which one truly is.
Go ahead.
Rolls his eyes affectionately, irritated at Thomas.
Soren.
You see, gentlemen, my Beatrice.
This was my idea.
She's on another plane than us mortals. That's how we named her, you know, from Inferno. Well, I named her.
It's Paradiso, actually.
Ha! Doesn't miss a beat, my Beatrice.
Please, don't make me vomit. I'm already so dehydrated.
Philip starts pouring everyone another round.
All right, now, one translation has its meaning as she who makes happy. Shockingly astute. But I prefer bringer of joy, which, to be clear, isn't what she's for, which is her business, her pursuit alone, so much as it is what results from her effect, purely supplementary to her wild inherent grace.
They raise their glasses.
I'm sorry.
Thomas puts his down.
That was beautiful, but this is bullshit.
Billy knocks back his drink and pours himself another.
Ooh-wee, look out.
No, I'm not meaning to be disrespectful. You know that, I hope, Philip. But look, if her purpose is her pursuit alone, then she clearly doesn't need your help.
We got a live one.
I'm her father.
I know, but they're her words. She doesn't need this bizarre puppetry. She's not a developing artist. Read the reviews. Her work is there.
Okay, that's enough.
I agree with you.
You need to tell her.
Excuse me?
You need to tell Beatrice that she can stand alone.
She knows that.
You realize that I, too, am occupying space here, right?
With all due respect, Philip, if she actually believed that, we wouldn't be having this sparkling tete-a-tete.
Billy abruptly pours himself another drink.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what our angle can be.
What are you talking about?
Well, we're gonna need to spin this in the right direction.
We're not telling people. Dad, we're not telling people about this.
You have to tell them.
I don't want to. That's the whole goddamn point.
You won't be a bad person just because people know you're ludicrously talented.
I'm just not comfortable. It's not what I want.
Philip crosses to kneel by her feet.
My love, are you afraid that you'll end up like me?
They look at one another.
That's not why.
Maybe we can skew this as some kind of performance art thing, exposing the ludicrous lack of integrity of the publishing industry, or displaying the futile mirage of praise. Oh, fuck.
Takes a great big swill.
You owe me one unbelievable big old favor, you goddamn pain in my ass.
Morning. Thomas enters the kitchen. He and Beatrice nod at each other. She moves to get up from her window post with her coffee cup. He refills her.
Thank you. So you're heading back tomorrow?
Yep.
Is it your
Final semester. Yep. Pretty nerve-wracking.
turn-in time?
He nods.
I remember that. I was 90% caffeine, 10% mind-melting anxiety by the time I turned in my thesis.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't worry. Dad says your latest draft has been really exciting to read. I hope you'll still work with my father. I hope this hasn't tainted how you see him. He needs your perspective.
I hold your father in impossibly high regard, but I'm not clear yet what kind of writer I want to be, the kind of influence I'm looking for.
It can be hard to take up some of the vibrancy when you're in the room with him.
Yeah. Have you decided when you're announcing?
God.
Sorry, terrible word choice.
I'm going to do what I'm sure will be a lengthy interview, but print only. No photographs, no televised bullshit. Just me and someone Billy trusts from the Times.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm hoping I can figure out this role on my terms. Like a female Pynchon or something.
Like yourself.
So I was wondering if you'd get some coffee when we're both back in the city.
Oh.
Want to be friends? You may have noticed by my abhorrent behavior on the porch, I don't always exactly know how to engage with people my age.
Yeah.
You sure? Don't let me twist your arm.
No, I'd actually really like that.
Cool.
I'd also love it if you'd read some of my work.
It'd be my pleasure.
And you can send me anything, you might be working on, if you want.
Actually, that'd be dope. I'd love a reader who isn't my father.
They smile at each other. Beatrice turns to look out the window, back to her book. Someone puts Peace, Peace by Bill Evans on the record player. Philip enters.
Darling, your mother's on the phone.
Beatrice puts down her book. She shoots him daggers.
Oh, come on, baby doll. Mighty forces will come to your aid.
He ruffles her hair as she passes him. She takes the phone to the hallway.
Art is long, and time is fleeting. And our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating. Funeral marches to the grave. It's pretty morose for a poem about what the heart of a young man has to say about destiny, huh?
Thomas nods, amused. Someone changes the record. Beatrice by Stan Getz plays.
But see, the payoff is the bastard really gets you at the end. I know, it's kind of kitschy, but in my opinion, what are you? If you can't give your readers some sweet reward for grasping devoutly along with your delirious ramblings.
Billy enters.
Would you like to hear the end, Thomas?
Very much.
Beatrice enters.
Let us then,
Let us then be up and doing, with a heart
for any fate,
still achieving,
still pursuing,
learn to labor.
and to wait.
End of play.
Wow. Wow. That was incredible. You guys, come on out here, please. I really want to talk a little bit about this, and we have a few minutes. So, oh, there we are. Christopher Hurd, Rick Walther, Patrick O'Hare. Come on. Oh, there's Carey Cox. Where's our leader? Where's our director? I know you're here somewhere. Come on, you guys. I know they're here. All right, here we go. There's Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi. I was so delighted by the end of that play that I just knocked something over.
Couldn't hear Nick over all the applause, right?
That was so incredible. I mean, I will be honest. I had no idea how this play was going to run. Because we talked about this. I want to ask you about what it was like to work on this play. I will say just in right up front on the surface, I just the way you all, once again, the way you all connected. You all gave such really like deep performances, like really so wonderful and layered, and there's so much going on. And I'm amazed at all of this because in a short play format, I'm often told you can't do that, and yet here you are. I find it quite incredible. So thank you so much. Yeah, so incredible. All of you, such great work. Rebecca, I have to ask you. I have to start with you because this is your second intensive with us, and you're such a wonderful actor, and you're such an incredible. The thing that I really am amazed with is that pretty much everybody in this entire intensive, they all are like writers and directors and actors, so they do everything, and that just blows me away.
Thank you, Nick. You're so kind.
It's kindness, no truth, but thank you. What made you think of doing this play and in this style? I mean, the play to me has such an old, like it feels like it has a very old school feel to it. And I know that in early discussions, Everett was talking about Somerset Maugham, and yet I still see like there are. I guess it's all the drinking. It reminds me of like maybe a Moss Hart play or something like that as well. It definitely has a retro feel to it. I feel bad that we couldn't add a lot of the music because unfortunately, if we did, then YouTube would pull it because they have copyright issues. and yet the music is such an important sort of character in the background. But tell me how you came to write this piece.
Well, I just want to start by saying that it was very fun that after I met with the cast and Everett, I felt like I had such a clear impression of the essence of everyone. And luckily enough, I also have already worked with Christopher Hurt, who, sorry, I'm revealing something about you, Chris, but I have a feeling about Chris when he speaks, like he sounds like he's from another time. I really like his voice, and I'm very obsessed with voices. So it, similarly to the other intensive, I think that this was just such a really rarefied opportunity to be creative in a way I didn't expect to be so liberated by, where I just went, and it just kind of like flowed out, and I had these distinct impressions, so I was also really able to visualize all of these humans saying these words.
Oh, and I mean, it's all there, and it really was fully realized in all of the work, all of the performances, just so incredibly rich. This was a very rich play and very rich performances, all of you. I have to say, I'm so thrilled that Everett, not only that Everett is directing, but Everett is directed this piece. He has such a great feel for, first of all, he has such a great breadth of knowledge when it comes to all these different styles and forms of theater, and he is also such an innovator and a pioneer himself. I want to ask him about doing this type of virtual theater, because I feel it is absolutely in your wheelhouse. It is, knowing your history, your roots, and of course your history with we have to talk about the Ridiculous Theatrical Company, because so much of the work that you created was all so innovative, and so I want to ask you what it was like, not only to work on this play, but what it was like to work on this play on this medium.
Well, I love this medium, and the lockdown has been great for me. Since last year, I've done more work this year, I think, than if I, so I've many things on here, and it's interesting to talk about the ridiculous. Ridiculous is also influenced by kind of styles like this, and it's so I am so proud of you, Rebecca. It was a beautiful play, and I didn't get I got the sense of it right off the bat, but it was through reading it and studying it that when it dawned on me how complex it is, and and I wrote to you that I don't know what kind of writer I am, but I can't turn deep notions into people, and that's what you do, these fabulous ideas to become people. It's so wonderful, and how deep the play is. I wasn't expecting this kind of depth, and then to get these actors who could do it. I think what do they say? Directing is 99% casting. And here's your 99%, baby. So wow. I'm telling you, man. Yeah. Oh, but I got a note for you, Nick. Take the price tag off your champagne glass.
Oh, there you go.
Thought that was the best joke of the whole play, though.
That's so great.
Oh man, what a beautiful! I'm so proud of you all. What a beautiful performance.
Yeah.
Beautiful play, and
through.
Agreed.
Through and through. But again, I am so amazed by the fact that about a year, I always keep bringing this up, but it makes me laugh, because about a year before this, we TBTB we started doing short play festivals back in 2011, more or less out of desperation, because in 2011 we had no money because of the the recession, and we just had started feeling it at that time. So we started doing short plays, and it was sort of a good way to sort of continue keeping people working.
With a pool of willing actors and writers.
Oh yeah, it was extraordinary. And so then we over the years we continued to do it, and I had writers telling me, Nick, this short form is dead. Like, can you get, like, Actors Theater of Louisville is not going to be doing their 10-minute play festivals anymore, so you should get rid of it. You do one acts and bigger, but stay away from the short plays. And then a year later, we hit a pandemic, and I feel that this is a perfect venue for that, because sometimes it's very hard to watch a full-length play on Zoom. If it's 2 hours long, you have to get somebody to sit in front of their computer for 2 hours and hold them. Now, I will say to you, Rebecca, in this play, the characters were so. This play was so deep and so rich. It actually once again proves that, the short play form is far from dead, and and you can do so much with it. So that is a huge gift. But I want to ask, what were you going to say?
I want to tell you really quickly that I think it's also just a really cool gift to give writers. I'm interested in who gave you that feedback back in the day, because for me, there's something about it where I felt like I'm not writing a full length anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going on this short journey that needs to have a feeling of resolution in some kind of respect, but I don't have to resolve every kind of ambiguity, etc. And that was so liberating, just as for a person trying to be in touch with their creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree. I think that, writing in a short form, a lot of writers don't do that, or they did at one point and then they stop.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is, and then when you sort of say, can you write in the short form, right away it becomes like, oh, I don't know. And it suddenly becomes this big challenge to them. And, I think the great skill in being a good writer, there are many, many tricks, but I think one is to try to remain supple and to have that ability to sort of, tell a story in a certain in a condensed way, to be able to really pack that in a short period of time, and also to write for actors as opposed to there's a lot of different things that you can do that a writer may not normally do, but it helps. It really does, because I think when you have all those tricks in your bag, you can do anything. And so I just love that. But you guys, all right, we don't. I want to give everyone a few minutes rest here, so I'll just ask you very, very quickly, because I'm going to start with you, Carey, because this is the first time you're doing one of our virtual short play festivals, our BPIs.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a blast.
There will be more. Have you been doing a lot of online plays, or have you ever done anything like this? I guess I have to ask.
Not with a short development like this. I've done some readings. I did something early at the very beginning of the pandemic where it was filmed and then edited together and put out kind of like a web series. But it is so funny to reflect back on that, because that was a year ago now, and everything was so new, and now we're such experts at this form. It's it feels so much more like theater than it did at the beginning. People are so adaptable, and it's so fun. But it makes you work smart too, this kind of workshop with just a few rehearsals together. It's really fun. I love this format.
Yeah, I agree with you. And at the very least, it's important that everybody continue doing what they're doing, so that when we are finally moving out of this, you're all ready to go. I mean, you've been working, so this isn't like you're going to walk back into something like, I haven't done this in a year and a half. Can I do it again? No, you know, it's a different format, but it's all of a piece. So I think that's really great. And you're wonderful. This is such a great role for you. Oh my God.
Thanks. She's so well written. What beautiful problems for a character to have.
Yeah.
So much to think about, and new discoveries every time we've looked at it. It's been so great. So thank you, Rebecca, and Everett, wonderful directing, been so fun.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and such a joy to share and to watch. Okay, Patrick and then Nick, I'm going to ask you guys next because you have done, well, you first, Patrick. This is, what, is this your second or third intensive with us?
Third, fourth, maybe third.
Well, third. It's got to be the third.
Yeah, third.
And I love this. This role was so perfectly suited to you, and you played it so wonderfully. But tell me, like, how you feel. Can you measure how you feel from the first time you did an intensive, a virtual piece of theater, with now? Can you tell me what it's like?
My first time was actually with Everett as my director, and it was like a totally different medium. I don't even think I used Zoom before this. And it was just, I have to say, Everett, your direction is brilliant. He gives like tips about different ways to move in the scene versus like staging, like it's a lot of this, you know what I mean? Because this doesn't necessarily play as much as, you know, it's just a whole, it's kind of like a new like technique, the Everett style of acting. I don't know, but it's but it's really fascinating. I'm much more comfortable with the medium now than when I started, because it was like, I didn't unmute myself. Oh, I did this, I did that, you know, and this one I have like a lot of drinks and stuff like that. So I'm like I have like a whole props table. It looks like I'm a bar right now, but it's interesting to like be like the props mistress, the costumer, you know what I mean? Like the lighting designer.
Yeah.
But but I feel much more confident in the medium, definitely. And I love it. I think it's so fun.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking back on a lot of the roles you played, and to see the range that you are able to play and able to create it's just really a joy. So this was just so great. And you, Nick, wow! Again, first of all, I know, forgive me. I love the way you look. I love your hair. You got your hair cut. You know, I've seen you play so many different roles as well, and to actually play sort of the young, I don't want to say naive, but certainly the one that we get to sort of, you sort of are, in terms of like for the audience, as all of these reveals are coming, you get to sort of reveal all of the, whatever, the shock, the horror of it all, that the person that you were working for is not the person you thought they were. How do you feel about all this in terms of this versus what you do live? I mean, is there much of a difference to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference is, this is something me and Chris were we emailed about earlier, is that, you know, like your visual scene partner is the camera. You know, look into the eye of the camera, because that's where, you know, that's how you communicate to the people watching. And so you kind of have to revert to you know, you're reacting to your castmates' voices rather than, you know, their facial expressions, body language, all that stuff that, you know, take for granted in live acting. So that's been cool for me, and it's been cool for me because I've been getting more into voice acting this last year. So it kind of was a fun intersection with that kind of, because this does kind of, in a way, you know, it turns into voice reacting, you know, more than you know, in live theater. Yeah.
Yeah, it might use a slightly different set of muscles, but at the same time, I find it very fascinating because, you know, we've been doing other work as well, collaborations with artists from Japan, where they're speaking in Japanese and we're answering them in English, and yet, so you know, to just have that ability to gauge and balance your performance in that way. That there's things that you can do on this that you can't do on stage. To be able to, you know, you really are able to capture a lot of the detail and the complexity. And oftentimes, like film or television, something just comes across your eyes and it's right there. That if you're on stage, that's a little bit harder to see. It has to be a little bit more sometimes physicalized.
Right.
But oh my goodness, just so great. Chris, I love you. I think you are such an incredible talent. And the first time I actually had to play on stage with Chris, I had to kiss him. That's a whole other
on stage.
yeah. And I mean, I didn't even know the guy. He had to step in for another actor who had to leave the show, and he came to the rehearsal that night just to sort of see what the play was about. And the director said, "Do you like it? Do you want to go on stage and try it?" And he was like, "Sure, I'll do it." And that was the scene where I had to kiss him. So I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And we had to do a makeup scene.
I know Nick less well now than I did in that first moment when I.
I'm telling you, it's crazy, crazy. Again, such a perfect. I mean, yeah, Rebecca really wrote with you in mind for this, because you just are so great in this
A
role.
delight, dare I say? He's a delight.
Yeah, you really, really.
I've got a voice from another century. That helps.
Well, but it's everything. It's just everything that you bring. Your the full physicality, the embodiment of it. We just really. It was
really fun to work on this play in the way that Everett wanted us to work on it, because it really did encourage me to get away from my desk, up out of my chair, moving around, even though the side to side doesn't necessarily, read very well in Zoom. If you go side to side like this, that does say something when you actually disappear there. So it was interesting to sort of create a little, stage for myself, as if I was, back on stage, and I could walk around. I'm not wearing the earbuds the way I did the last couple of Zoom plays I did and stuff like that. It's been fun to play around with some other techniques, which was great. And this was a wonderful play to do that with, because I felt like I could be a little bit different from the other people in the play. It's my house. It's a house from another time, perhaps an aesthetic from another time. So it was really fun.
It was wonderful. It was just so wonderful. And being able to work in with this on this style, I think, is quite extraordinary. And there were also some other things that we were talking about, which I will talk about in the next talk back, because I already talked way too much. So I'm going to ask you guys to I want to say, first of all, thank you. I want you to get a few minutes rest before I set this up. And I'll look forward to sort of sharing, talking about this a little bit more, talking about adding audio description or having another voice. All of that, I think, is very, very important. So thank you all. And thank you so much for watching. Really, we are so grateful to have you sort of tune in every night. So again, if you like what you saw, please tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. And we're going to be doing this until Sunday. Every night, 7:30 on YouTube, 8:30 on Facebook. And we're just so excited to be able to share this wonderful work and these incredible collaborations by our artists. Now, tomorrow, we have another... we've worked with this writer, Tatiana G. Rivera, several times, and she has this incredible style of writing. And she wrote this really beautiful play called Do You See What I See? It was directed by, oh my goodness, another legend. Ed Satrakian directed this one, and it stars Scott Katzman, Adreem Smith, John Little, and Gaia Visnar. So I hope that you will tune in tomorrow to see Do You See What I See? Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and join us. We're going to be logging on to Facebook, so let's move the party over to the other channel. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.